You're going to be that much more resilient, more focused, less stress. When you have those little things that support your ability to be successful in your life, and that success looks different for each part of your life and for each person. But that could be showing up and being present with your family or with your kids, being present and focused on each client that you work with, or focusing on your training session. There's nothing else that you need to be worrying about during that time. That's your time. Showing up for those things in different ways. The underlying heartbeat of your life is just those 6 daily shifts, and how you build on that and how you continue to grow with keeping those as that foundation.
Hi, I'm Lauren Parsons.
And I'm Andy Jackson, and this is the ALWELLCO Podcast.
Dive deep with us as leading experts share their unique perspectives on topics such as recovery, sleep, movement, and the latest innovations in the space.
So hi, Nicole. Welcome to the ALWELLCO Podcast. Before we dive into kind of your journey, let's kind of set the stage. Can you share how you first met us, what drew you into the ALWELLCO community?
Yes. I believe you had actually reached out to me and got me plugged into the community that y'all built and created. And as far as just the overall first initial vibe I got was y'all have built something amazing. And I felt very honored that you were wanting me to be part of that. And so thank you. And just the people and the brands and the businesses that y'all have introduced me to and have brought into my life since that time, I have, as far as support to, feeling very supported in the online space, which you don't really find what y'all have.
Communities. Communities. That's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to build a community that basically allows people like yourselves to interact with other professionals and share ideas, etc. So, okay, let's dive in. Let's talk about you. So, you coach for more than 25 years across things like gymnastics, cheerleading, CrossFit, personal training. So, what was the moment or the experience that most shaped the way you see movement and the human body today?
This is such a tough question, because I feel like it's such a culmination of everything that I've been part of and experienced across my entire life in sport. And but the most powerful, impactful time in my life was when I was invited onto the CrossFit gymnastics trainer seminar staff. And I got to travel the country and then also the world, teaching and coaching other coaches in the CrossFit and functional fitness space how to do gymnastics in that space, working with people that had never done gymnastics a day in their life. Maybe were just starting their fitness journey, building that foundation that I was lucky enough to have part of my life since I was little. And so I guess looking at it from a new perspective in how people learn and how to approach teaching and breaking movement down into progressions in a completely new way. So the coolest thing, working alongside each of the coaches that were on this amazing team, they are and were just all super talented. Not all of them had a gymnastics background, but they all had something very in common, and that was just a growth mindset. They were very humble, very hardworking, and really cared about every single person that they worked with. And then when you are coaching alongside other coaches, it is the coolest thing because you get to actually see from their perspective or their eyes. Everybody sees movement differently and life differently. And so getting to see how they approached movement as, and I'm watching or assisting or leading And the different dynamic there of we're all learning from one another, and figuring out, oh man, I totally did not see what they saw in this specific movement, this little tiny detail of this, and how that makes such a huge difference across the board in different movement, how different progressions can move and allow you to progress in different directions based on their goals and what skills they're wanting to, achieve, and how the connection between those little tiny details carry over into much bigger movement, and how that applies so much across the board to life in general.
Oh, I'm intrigued here, and maybe I'm getting a little confused here. Is there a difference between CrossFit and CrossFit gymnastics? Are they the same thing?
So CrossFit is made up of very sport-specific sports. So gymnastics, Olympic weightlifting, powerlifting, all endurance sports, biking, running,
Yeah.
all of that. And it's basically pulling all of those things and bringing them together. What they did, especially back in the day, was find the top coaches within those niches.
Oh, so it is all within. So CrossFit gymnastics is one of the elements of CrossFit.
Yeah, but that didn't mean it that they all saw movement the same. So it was very interesting because CrossFit gymnastics had a completely different mindset and approach to how CrossFit,
the deadlifters and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm sure.
Approached movement. So it was really interesting.
My friends who do CrossFit, I would not describe them as gymnasts.
What is kind of cool and what people don't realize is that the founder of CrossFit was a former gymnast. And that was what way back in the day, like in the early days of CrossFit, they had stuff like back levers in programming the workout of the day, like on the main site, all sorts of stuff that you don't really see anymore. It's definitely evolved, and gymnastics is hard, and body weight movement's hard. It's tough, but if, depending on who you're working with, of course, and if they have the patience and the tenacity to really refine their movement and their, form and their technique and receive coaching well, it's pretty amazing how much they progress, not just with body weight movement.
Sure. When's the last time you've done a somersault? I'm just thinking through gymnastics. I don't know.
The last time I did somersault was probably when I was at school, probably at college.
Yeah. Could you even think about attempting one now? I mean,
it's could, but I'd break my neck.
Yeah.
I would break my neck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Nicole, you've been inside these elite environments, NFL, NBA, cheer, CrossFit gymnastics, like we were just talking through. What do those high performance systems understand that maybe the average gym goer never gets to see?
Yeah. They all, the things that they have, very much in common, their relentlessly high standard that they have across the board. Everything is, they take a ton of pride in their organizations. And that's, they're basically like, here's the bar and you can either meet it or, so it's, this is like what their expectations are. And within that, the teams that, being part of that, each person that you're surrounded by are all holding themselves to an even higher standard to, make sure that they're representing that brand, that organization, that team, in the best way that they possibly can.
So you started your first business at 19 with a mobile gym. What problem were you trying to solve back then? And do you think it's still a problem today?
Yes. So my mobile gym was basically to help add value to private schools, daycares, in that realm, and then also bring fitness to people. So I was doing in-home private coaching, cheer, dance, and gymnastics within the private school daycare setting, bringing something to those children that may not have had the chance if I hadn't shown up to do something like that at that age. So the other thing is that from a business standpoint, it allowed me flexibility within my calendar. I was able to, set my own schedule to a certain extent and create that flexibility within my life. And then offering this to families, to the schools, to add value to their program, and hopefully bring more joy and maybe a little bit of inspiration to these young kids. The other cool thing is I was introduced to gymnastics through a mobile gym when I was 4.
Okay.
And I still remember the first day when they had all of us come in and we got to try out the floor and beam, and they brought all the equipment in, and it was magical. And I knew from then on that I wanted to do gymnastics.
Yeah.
And eventually my parents put me in after I had talked about it.
That is so cool you did that. My parents put me in gymnastics from a really, really young age, and I still thank them today because I learned, body awareness, proprioception, just all these different things that I wouldn't have had that, maybe probably helped me turn into the athlete that I was in college. And so that is so cool that you did that. I didn't realize that.
D1 volleyball player, Nicole.
Oh, wow.
That was a long time ago, but yeah.
I think gymnastics is such an amazing foundation for every single person across the board. No matter what sport you decide to go into, it's such a great foundation as far as the level of discipline and consistency and the ability to see things through, that you're having to work hard for so long to finally get a skill.
Yeah, the level of discipline is great. So Nicole, you've launched a book. So come on, get your book up and show me your book.
Yes.
Show me your book. Okay. Now you've created a book and it's all based on your methodology. And you have got something called the NZ fitness method. So one sentence, you're in an elevator, you've only got 3 floors to go. Explain to me what the NZ fitness method is. Whereas I'm pressing the button on the elevator now.
Okay. It's a complete no-nonsense system combining functional strength, gymnastics training, simple nutrition, with a holistic approach to training and living and creating long-term strength, energy, resilience, longevity, so that you can live your strongest, healthiest, happiest life possible.
Great. You did that by the second floor. I love that. So if they or I followed it for 12 weeks, what changes would they feel and see? And you've got as many floors as you need for this.
Okay. Yes. So when someone follows their programming, my coaching, and is implementing everything consistently, and that includes nutrition and different lifestyle changes, they're going to see a ton of benefit. They're going to be noticeably stronger for sure, more confident across the board just with their daily life, but in movement for sure, more capable, more empowered. Those are great things, but they're going to also be seeing a decrease in body fat, an increase in lean muscle mass, more energy, more sustained energy, better quality sleep, better balance, joint stability, better hormonal balance, just elevated mood, increase in body awareness, core strength, increased bone density.
So no benefits at all then. There's no point doing that program. So it's not going to help me at all. So
but
what I'm intrigued though is before you would start with someone on your program, if we do a single rep with a client, you got any like non-negotiables, things that must be in place physically or mentally before you even start with them?
Yes. So I definitely have my, assessment that I will put them through. I'm not telling them that I'm putting them through an assessment. But I do have a baseline workout that I will modify for each person specifically. But across the board, it's the same workout. It's just modified based on ability level or where we're starting. And they have that for, as long as they want to continue to retest and go back and see. That is one thing that I do have them do when we first start working together, but it's all body weight movement. I'm looking for core strength and stability. They need to be able to hold a hollow position, even if it's modified, and understand what, different parts of their body and their midline and how to control that and into the overhead position. We're only as strong as our core, and our core is not just our abs. It's our entire trunk. So it's everything from our shoulder down to our hip. That's anterior and posterior. And a lot of where I start with that is just working a ton of midline strength and stability movement. And that is gradually built and across time. That is, with volume, muscle endurance, and then the intensity and how we load that body weight movement or static holds. And so one very popular movement that I do quite often, because it is so, so good for anterior and posterior overall back health, is the side plank. So being able to do side plank, and the goal is to be able to hold that for close to 90 seconds on each side. That is a really long time for most people, especially right in the beginning. So that's kind of the underlying goal. I don't really necessarily tell them that's what we're working towards at first. We're just working on getting a better understanding of how to position their body in that static hold so that they're supporting their shoulder and their upper back and their lats, and it's not just for their abs. And then the other side to this is mentally. So before we get started working together, I need to know that they are committed, they're on board, but they're committed to working as a team together. So one of my core values is that is teamwork. And so client and coach relationship, we work together as a team, matching each other's effort. I can only guide and lead and coach you, but I can't actually make you do the work, and I can't make you eat, a certain way, and I can't make you go to bed at a certain time or do this or that. But I can show you all the ways to do that, and I can help you along the way, and be your support and your guide. But I can only do so much.
Mm-hmm.
It's that piece that, we're a team. And so we're in this together.
Yeah. What's a hollow position?
The hollow. So you have the hollow and the tight arch. This is the foundational position for what I say is for all movement. Mm-hmm. The hollow position is anterior. The tight arch is your posterior. If you're laying on the floor, what I'll normally have people do is have their feet flat right about hip distance. And they're going to tuck their chin into their chest, reach their fingertips forward, as far forward as they can, and bring their shoulders off the ground. So they're going to elevate their shoulder blades up as high as possible as they're compressing the rib cage down to their hips. And they're actively tucking their tailbone under. So if they had a tail and they were trying to tuck it in between their legs, that's kind of the idea. So we're creating a ton of compression through their midline. So trying to take the ribs to the hips, hips to the ribs, and shorten the distance between that and hold. And that's it. And then over time, then we take the feet off the floor. So they're in a tuck position, and then possibly extend one leg out, maybe take the other leg out to meet it. Their feet are not touching the floor. If they're in that position, it's really easy to see the hollow position, like a picture of it or something like that. And then end up not actually in the hollow at all. A lot of times what that is the low back is up off the floor, but the position looks correct. So it's very tiny detail. You can miss it with your eyes. So the person has to really understand what they're needing to feel within their own body and against the floor. Have a fun drill that I use with a band by just placing it under their low back and putting a little bit of tension on it. So if in the middle of them doing that static hold for however long we're doing it, 30 to 60 seconds or so, if their low back starts to pull up off the floor, the band is going to come.
Sure. Yeah, okay. It's like the dead bugs, right? As an example, it's easy for it to look right, but it's very easy to get it wrong.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Got it. Okay. So where do people waste the most effort in health and fitness, do you think?
So doing stuff like that.
Okay.
Doing stuff that might appear like they're doing stuff and but they're not. They're just wasting their time or possibly injuring themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So this is one of those things where I just strongly encourage every single person to either work with a coach, at least for a certain amount of time, work with someone that they trust and respect that maybe is knowledgeable in fitness and wellness, maybe, that can help with form and technique. Even going into a CrossFit gym, they're going to learn so much about form and technique. It's when I am at the gym and I see people just kind of randomly walking around, not really sure what to do. It is one thing to show up at the gym and be like, okay, I'm going to start this habit. I'm going to the gym, but then they have no idea what to do with the time that they're spending at the gym. And it's painful to watch because it's like, oh man, here they are. They're actually carving out that time in their day, but they're not going to see maybe any results at all, because they're not really doing anything. Maybe they're doing a set of something, but they're not really challenging themselves. They're doing movement, not with the best form, not with the best technique, maybe not with full range of motion, maybe not understanding core control or how to move safely through different movement. And so all of that, there's so many reasons why you would want to invest in a coach, a trainer, go to an actual small group class with a very knowledgeable coach, something where you're going to get coaching feedback, so that you can lay that foundation, because you want every second of your life that you're investing in yourself in that way to actually go somewhere. You don't want to be just, kind of going through the motions. Now, there is something to creating a habit. Maybe they need to just first go to the gym and do random stuff. Hopefully it's not, unsafe or anything like that, but where they're going and they're at least doing some movement and they're creating that time in their day and they're starting to create that consistency and showing up for themselves. That is great. It's if they're wanting to build strength, build muscle, build whatever it may be, that I would invest in a coach, a trainer, anything, if you're not sure what to do when you get to the gym.
Sure. So you have something called the shifts framework. Can you walk us through what that is?
Yes. So shifts, actually in the book, I'll share a little bit about this. So shifts each letter stands for each shift, or daily habit. So sleep, hydration, intake, which is nutrition, fitness, thoughts, which is mindset, and sunshine. And these are 6 daily, very simple, but simple doesn't mean easy. But they're very simple daily habits that, if maintained consistently across time, you are going to be the most resilient, healthy, happy, strong person on the planet. The idea behind this is that that's our foundation. So it's like the hollow position in fitness, and really looking at those little tiny details that we're adding that may not seem significant, but make a huge difference across time, and across our life when those things are a top priority.
Yeah.
We're able to do much bigger things and accomplish bigger things, or be more present, or have more joy, or more energy, or better, quality sleep at night, and just all across the board, just a better quality of living, better quality of life. And not just for now, but for your entire life. And so you get better at this as you go. And the shifts, why I chose that word, when I was learning to drive, this is a story I share in the book. My dad owns an auto repair shop, and so I grew up around cars, and always, like, I was driving at a very early age and learning how to drive standard. This truck that my dad had, he took me to the DMV, and I got my driver's permit, and we're on our way back, or walking out to the car, and he asked if I wanted to drive, and I was like, sure. And I had driven it before, but not on an actual road. And we're sitting at the stoplight trying to turn left to get onto the freeway. And before we even started, he's like, if you can learn how to drive this, you can drive anything. I'm 5, I was barely 5 foot, like almost 5'1". And I had to have the seat all the way up, had to do a severe weighted calf raise to get the clutch all the way to the floor so that I could even get it into first gear. And the air conditioning had gone out. It was in the middle of the summer, and I was just pouring sweat. I was so nervous. And I'm there, and I keep stalling, and I'm the first one to go. All these people are, driving, speeding around me, honking, throwing their hands up. And my dad is just sitting there as calm as could be. And he's like, don't worry about him. Just let him go around. We'll get through. Don't worry. And so I finally get my truck moving, and I get through the intersection. The light is turning red, and I'm still turning to go. I'm getting on the freeway now in first gear. I have no intention of shifting gears or anything. I was going to just hang out in first gear the whole time. I was totally fine with that. And my dad's like, okay, we're getting on the freeway. And so I need you to just push the clutch in, and I'm going to help you shift gears. And I was like, oh, okay. And he was just as calm as could be. I pushed the clutch in, and then, we're shifting gears. We get back, everything's fine. But it's taking that whole experience, that has stuck with me for the rest of my life. As far as anything that's challenging in our life, or scary, or like where you're just very out of your comfort zone, and I literally was like, no, I'm never driving a standard ever again. That's just not for me. And my dad encouraged me to just, keep working at it and keep trying. And I drove a lot on the beach. You can drive on the beach there. And so I practiced there and down in like cow pasture and all sorts of stuff, and finally felt confident enough to, actually start shifting gears. But the whole thing behind that is so many of us are stuck in first gear, and we have no intention of shifting. And it's kind of like that in life, and it across the board. And sometimes you just need a little bit of support from someone that's, not
someone's been there before, right?
Yeah. That is there, that's kind of coaching you and letting you know, hey, I'm here with you. You got this. Do not worry. We're going to get through this.
So Nicole, let's jump back in the elevator.
Yes.
So you're in the elevator, okay? You're telling me about shift, okay? So I understand what they are. Okay, we've got 6 floors. You got to tell me one action that I can take for each one. So I'll name what it is, and you give me one action. Just give me the simplest version how I can improve with your 80-20 methodology. So, ready?
Yes.
Ready to go. So one action to give me better sleep.
Can I give you 2?
You can give me 2.
Work out daily and keep a bedtime routine.
Okay, awesome. Hydration.
Keep a water bottle with you that has at least half of what you need for the day and get it done by at least 12 p.m. Refill it and have the second half done by dinner time.
Okay, intake.
Protein. Protein is number 1 here. 1 to 1.5 grams per pound of body weight per day.
Fitness.
Get it done.
Okay. Yeah, mindset.
Give yourself daily quiet time. It could be 10 minutes. It could be an hour. It could be anything that, just spending time alone with yourself.
I think I know the answer to this next one because Mark Hyman talks about it all the time. Sunlight.
Just get outside. In the morning get outside. In the morning is a good time, but anytime throughout the day, just get it. Yeah. And I mean, you could even double up with your fitness, get some fitness out in the sunshine.
So we're getting near the top floor of the hotel now, and you're telling me, one of the things is that success isn't about perfection. It's about something you call minimum effective consistency. So what does that look like on a bad or a busy week?
So I guess as far as bad or busy week, I feel like life is just busy, and rather than thinking of it as bad, you're just having an adventure. Life is an adventure, and we, sometimes are going to have some more exciting adventures than other days. But if you are keeping the 6 shifts, a consistent thing and part of your life on a daily basis, those fun adventures are going to be more fun.
Yeah.
But you're going to be able to handle anything. You're going to be that much more resilient, more focused, less stress. When you have those little things that support your ability to be successful in your life, and that success, it looks different for each part of your life and for each person. But that could be showing up and being present, just with your family or with your kids, being present and focused on each client that you work with, or whatever that, focusing on your training session. There's nothing else that you need to be worrying about during that time. That's your time. Like showing up for those things in different ways, but the underlying kind of heartbeat of your life is just those 6 daily shifts. And how do you build on that? And how do you continue to kind of grow with keeping those as that foundation and kind of continue to level up?
Let's just expand this a little bit. I'm going to jump in here because we have a new mother to my left here, who, Louise, how old are?
Almost 8 months.
He's 8 months old.
Yeah.
So the most busy people in the world are working mothers, etc. around there. So I know Lauren wants to chat all about motherhood, etc.
Yeah, and the new body for sure.
Yeah.
But we're going to dive in. I'm really excited to talk about all this with you.
Yeah.
What is one belief about health or fitness or getting your body back, right? We all say that, I just need to get my body back. After kids that you wish more women would unlearn, and why?
This is so funny because I was really reflecting on this question and kind of I personally don't know, and unless they just don't share it with me, but I don't know anyone in my life currently or like within the past few years that has had this, like, I need to, be back in my, I guess, have my body back. kind of mindset. It's more like, I'm going to show up, get my workout done. I'm getting stronger, kind of that thing. But the other thing that I have seen more often is when women that are either pregnant or postpartum take that time and feel like, well, I'm pregnant, so I can just eat whatever I want. Or and afterwards, like, well, if you're breastfeeding or all of this, and you have this new appreciation of your body, which is a good thing, very good after you've given birth. So I think that is very helpful in the mental mindset. Of the piece to it that I don't understand is, oh, I have the rest of my life to work out, or, oh, I'm just, and I think the whole thing here is that I am kind of wrestling with myself is that and this is what I definitely like with my clients too, when you keep fitness and you've established a really good, solid, healthy fitness foundation and overall health and wellness foundation for years, hopefully at least a year or more, before you become pregnant, and you're able to do that throughout your entire pregnancy, you're going to want to get right back into your consistent routine. Not in a way, I think everybody is worried and they're like, oh no, that's too soon, that's too fast, and you must have an unhealthy mindset about this. But the idea is that that is part of you and that's part of your life. And especially in that first week, it's tough. And when you're sleep deprived and your body is had just gone through a ton of trauma, especially if you had a C-section or anything else, depending on what went on down there. But getting in a little bit of movement, even if that's just a walk or whatever, but keeping your daily habit alive within that, I feel is the thing that doctors scare women about, telling them they can't work out until 5 or 6 weeks after they've given birth. And I just think that's the most horrible.
Do they really do that? Did you get told
Well,
that?
yeah, what I was told is 6 weeks. And really what that means is just like 6 weeks, it reduces your risk of hemorrhaging. Is that right?
Yeah. So the whole thing, I guess, I had an emergency C-section, and movement is healing. Now, if you're going back and you're like doing like balls to the wall, I don't know, like cleans and doing running and all this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, walking and things, no problem, but
like that, you do not, obviously, like that's probably not going to be helpful. But just getting a little bit of movement in, like when I right after like day 1, day 2, I was in so much pain. But I wanted to get up and start walking. I wanted to make sure that was still part of my life for my own just mental health. And so what I would do is I would do 30 seconds of walking, take a little bit of rest, and I would do like a few sets. First week, second week, introduce light body weight movement, where I'm not doing anything for sets or reps. I'm just getting some movement in and seeing how everything is feeling. And I did that for like every other day to see how my body recovered. By week 3, I felt more confident to go to the gym and do light body weight movement, very, very modified. And it was like very minimal, of course, but it was still something that I was able to keep part of my life in that way. And it was helpful physically, but it was more the mental and emotional piece to postpartum recovery. And I did a ton of stuff like just going on walks and doing like support holds on the outdoor playground, or like different things like that. that I feel like new moms they are filled with this fear of, that they can't do anything like that until.
Nicole, is that their biggest mistake? That they're
I think
just too
so.
frightened, they're just
Because
frightened about it.
it's so crazy to me. I'm like, okay, movement is medicine, and getting out in the sunshine, getting whatever that looks like. I mean, it could literally be like 10 minutes of walking, just pushing the stroller outside for the first, however long you feel like you need to do that, but just getting something in. When new moms feel scared to do movement, oh my gosh, like that's when postpartum depression, the baby blues, like all of that they're so much more susceptible to that and less resilient in bouncing back, but just mentally and emotionally of overcoming the trauma that their body just went through.
It's interesting that you say all of that. And maybe I'm unique, but I'm impatient, right? And so mine is like, oh my gosh, I have before and after. I'm like, come on, Lauren, it's 8 months. Like I'll give myself, a year and a half or so on and so forth. But mine is more of, you're used to a certain level. You don't want to push it too hard, but you're a high achiever. You want to get back to what you were. But I think it's also realizing that maybe that'll never happen again. And that might be okay. So do you have clients that, before the mirror maybe shows change? How do you tell or how do you coach women that are postpartum that they are progressing in the right direction?
Yes, I totally relate with that. I did my first fitness show when my daughter was 6 months old. And then I did my first fitness show when my son was 6 months old. And people look at that and they think I'm crazy. But I'm like, okay, so when you are pregnant, this was the other piece of that, like you're not eating anything you want. Like you're literally, if you're growing an actual human inside of you, an actual little person. I'm definitely very passionate about this specifically, is like, wouldn't you want to just give the best of everything to that little person inside of you that you're growing? Even more so. So there would be like even more motivation to eat as healthy as possible during that time. So if that's happening and, you're getting in really high quality whole food and just like very nourishing to your body, and you're staying consistent with your fitness, even though that evolves and shifts, across, your entire pregnancy, you're not going to be doing certain movements or load or weight or intensity that you were doing when you were first pregnant. But all of that allows for that foundation when you are building back. The understanding here though is, especially for like a high achiever, someone that's used to looking a certain way or performing at a certain level, is giving yourself grace and respect your body for what the amazing thing that it was able to do. And so it's that kind of that appreciation, that respect, and be like, wow, I cannot believe that my body did that. And now, knowing that it took 9-10 months for it to get to where it was, to be able to birth your baby, and then it's going to take probably that long, if not longer. They say it can take up to 2 years before your body is fully healed and recovered. And that is, of course, a lot of that is hormonally as well. And so all of those things across the board, just understanding and having that level of awareness within, where you're at, where you feel like you should be. But understanding that everything, of course, takes time. And as long as you're just showing up for yourself in nutrition, in the fitness realm, whether that's in the gym or getting outside and doing whatever, your training structure is, but keeping that as consistent as possible, especially from day one, and walking for 30 seconds at a time for sets to feel like, I mean, that right there is an accomplishment, and feeling that level of, okay, I did it, and now I'm going to increase that maybe by 5 seconds tomorrow or the next day or whatever. And then seeing where you started, gradually building across time with patience, and then just focusing on those 6 shifts is the foundation to all of that.
Okay, I want to pick up on those 6 shifts. Okay, so you've got a tremendous amount of knowledge. I'm sure we could sit here for another 3 hours and you could part lots of it here. But you've got all of this in your book. So grab your book for me here, because I want to talk about your book. So what is your book called?
It is Live Fit from the Inside Out.
Okay, great. And where do I find it?
It is on Amazon. It's also on my website, NicoleZapoli.com.
We'll get that up in the show notes, which is great. Okay, great. So I want to just shift a little bit here. Look at me using that. Yeah. Is that there's going to be lots of listeners here who've got ideas for writing a book. There's going to be lots of them who have always wanted to write a book, but have no idea how to start. So I want to get back in the elevator, and I want to just kind of give the top 10 tips about it. So you thought about the book. We've been through a lot of your content. We understand your methodology a bit more now. And I don't actually want to give anybody any more information, because I want them to buy your book and go and find out all the information about all your methodology. But what was step one? What did you do first when you were going to write the book? How did you find a publisher?
So I pretty much just kind of did an interview process and to see who I felt most aligned with.
How did you find them though? How did you find the publisher? Did you just go online and find different publishing houses?
Yes.
Okay, great. So you found them, you started interviewing them. Okay. I've heard there are traditional publishing houses that you need a literary agent. There are hybrid models where people help you to put together the book, edit the book, and then help you sell it. And then something that doesn't sound as great, you've got these, what they call vanity publishers. Can you just tell us a little bit about those, and what did you end up with?
This is a hybrid. So I worked with a publishing company. They helped me from, each step throughout the entire course of writing the entire thing, and then editing it, and the entire process. So as far as the writing process, a lot of everything that is in the book is stuff I've been writing. I journal a lot, and I do a weekly blog on my website as well. And I've been doing this for probably about 10 years now. Been putting at least a blog out each week. And so a lot of that is in the book. And of course, just my overall approach to fitness and wellness coaching.
Nicole, did you take all that information, all the stuff from your blogs, and did you give it to a writer? Did you write it yourself? What did you do? Because I've heard something called a ghostwriter.
Yes, I worked with a ghostwriter.
Okay.
I feel like sometimes, I like to have control over.
Yeah, I think you told me this before. Yeah.
So it was very helpful, because as far as how to organize everything, like at first, it was in a certain layout, organized in a certain fashion, and then we would meet like every other week, and in between there, I would be working on putting new
sections in
together. And so that was helpful. It was like kind of like working with a coach. They were the accountability piece to that, and then also just my guide in helping me put together what I. And
did the publishing house that you picked find the ghostwriter for you, or did you find them separately?
So they're all freelancers, but they're a team within this company.
Within this matter. So the company found you. Okay, great. So you found a company. They're a hybrid model. They found you a ghostwriter. You then wrote the book and the manuscript. And then I assume that publishing house next then sorted out front cover, look and feel of book. And then they moved on to actually publishing the book.
Yes.
Okay, great. And then what about marketing and promotion? Do they help with that?
Yes, they do. Now, it's definitely a team effort. They are just like with working with a coach, you're, putting in just as much effort as they're putting in, if not more, depending on how much how much you want to be investing in that piece, to marketing your book, to getting it out there, putting together events, talking about your book, creating different ways that helps you connect and get the book in front of people so they know it exists.
Yeah.
And so they are kind of behind the scenes helping create different campaigns that I could do on, I have MailChimp, and that is where I usually promote my weekly blog and just different fitness and wellness tips and things like that. They help create different stuff. Now, I'm the one that, of course, is, making sure that stuff is going out and is getting organized and getting done. And then anything else on top of that. They're also the piece to their post production marketing is like doing a podcast book tour, like a virtual book tour. And so the goal right now is that, and I just started, I've done, I did my third podcast this morning. And so the goal is to do at least 4 a month for the next 6 months. So right around 24.
Are they getting you as a guest on podcasts? Is that them that's doing that?
Yeah, so it's someone that actually wrote a book through them, and alongside of who is a freelancer, has his own business, who is reaching out on my behalf.
To podcasts and things like that.
And then sending me their info and getting me connected with them. And then I can decide from there if
you want a guest or not, or go on there. Okay. Okay, great. So just to summarize this for somebody who's listening who might want to publish a book. So go find a publisher. A hybrid publisher is somebody who's going to help you with all sorts of services that you can choose. So ghostwrite it. It could be somebody who is just going to simply line edit it or put it together for you. It's somebody who is then going to actually go through the publishing and get it on Amazon and Ingram and get reviews and all that type of stuff for you. And then once that's launched, it's generally a hybrid publisher is what I think you just said is a combined marketing effort. So it's your marketing efforts linked to their marketing efforts that you take it out jointly. Just to cut to the chase here on this is that this is something that they're not paying you huge upfront payments to get your book. This is a hybrid publishers, you're paying them and they'll take a royalty percentage. Is that correct?
It was just a flat fee to work with them, and then anything that I make on the book is, I own the book, and then make the.
So all the royalties go to you on this one. Yeah, just to give just listeners, there are a variety of different versions of that people will charge less and they will take a bigger royalty. Some people just take a royalty. There's a whole combination around that. My tip would be, I don't know whether you agree, Nicole, is that you're going to write a book. Do not go with somebody that does not want to help you with the whole service. If they only want to sell you very high marketing packages and they're not going to actually, and they basically just give you packages that you're going to have to promote anyway, I would not recommend that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Nicole, thank you so much for your time today. We always like to wrap up with one final question for every guest, and that has to do with the core values of our podcast, which are strength, kindness, and perspective. So is there someone in your life that embodies these values someone who has deeply influenced or inspired your journey that you'd like to show some kindness to and give a shout out to?
So I don't have one specific person. I feel like I've been very lucky to have a lot of amazing people in my life that have helped me in one way or another, whether that was just by showing their support or living a life that was completely radical in a way that, is very rare. Just living at a certain level, whether that is, just showing kindness and compassion, or giving me productive feedback and letting me know how I can grow and get better at, fill in the blank of whatever that is. But I definitely feel very lucky and blessed to have so many amazing people in my life currently, and so many people that have come, into my life from the very beginning that have really been a huge influence, impact across the board. I can't just name one person though.